if we zoom out here and look at the political backdrop, we can see why exactly this situation happened. Why the environment at this school was as soft and vulnerable to this killer as it was. We can even see why culturally and from a resource standpoint and a training standpoint, why police officers didn't respond in a moment of life and death as they should have. Part of this is the police reform that Democrats are always talking about. They're talking about wanting reform at police forces across the country. They're talking about wanting to retrain law enforcement officers. And yet, what do they spend their resources doing? How do they retrain police officers? In diversity and inclusion and equity and all of these neo-Marxist ideas that the radical left at the political level has embraced. They want police officers to feel that they are a relic of white supremacy, if not active members of a white supremacist institution, our criminal justice system. This is what they're focusing on. Instead of focusing on, okay, what are the threats that we face here in the United States? What are the dangers that could harm not just children, but all citizens of the United States? And how are law enforcement best equipped to handle this, to protect innocent lives and to neutralize as quickly as possible threats against us, while also respecting our rule of law? There's one party that focuses on the latter, or on the former, which is all of the neo-Marxist stuff. And there's another party that focuses on making law enforcement most effective. Yet when you hear the left talk about police reform, they're not talking about training that would equip police officers to save children. If you think about Uvalde through this political prism, it's shocking. It's enabled. The situation was enabled partially because of the defund the police movement, because of this animosity that the left has towards law enforcement officers and their unwillingness to look at the actual training modules that law enforcement undergo and how they would be best equipped to handle situations like this. Instead, police officers suffer from the Ferguson effect when they're interacting with Black people in the course of their normal police duties. They're ill-equipped, sometimes resource-wise, to handle situations because money has been taken away from departments, not necessarily in Uvalde, but in a larger sense in general. And in situations like this, how much time do you think was spent on training for this scenario and making sure that officers understood their duty and were willing to lay down their lives should this occur?